Welcome. I am Skychi Travels, Janice Temple, your host for the Skychi Travel Guide, every Travel Tuesday at 1 p.m. on UBM Talk Live. We talk about flight tales, flying insider secrets, and flying hot topics. Join us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Central. I was a flight attendant for 7 years at a regional carrier where I flew across the United States, Canada, and the Bahamas. I am a travel agent now. You can contact me at 904-515-2995. I would like for you to follow me on Facebook at the Skychi Travel Guide and subscribe to our blog, theskychitravelguide.com, to learn more about our travel experiences. I also want to make an announcement. We are launching the Black Girls Fitness Getaways to the Riviera Maya Cancun in 2015. You can complete the form on the Skychi Travel Guide blog to receive more information. And today's show is Destination Berlin, Germany. If you're interested in joining the conversation, you can call in to Urban Broadcast Media with questions or comments at 312-754-4333 and share your travel story. Today's guest is Nicole. Nicole is a blogger at Nicole is the New Black. And if you want to join us on YouTube, you can see Nicole and her baby, Ariana. They are in Berlin, Germany. So you would go to YouTube and you would Google How to Travel, Episode 7, the Skychi Travel Guide Live. Episode 7. Episode 8, excuse me. How to Travel, Episode 8, the Skychi Travel Guide Live. Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
Hi, Ariana. Her baby is adorable, so get on YouTube if you want to see the program. So I'm going to introduce Nicole. Nicole Blake is a storyteller currently living in Berlin, Germany with her daughter Ariana. On her personal blog, Nicole is the New Black, Nicole muses about travel, living in Germany, and being a single mother. As a travel enthusiast, Nicole has been to nearly 40 countries. Having a kid hasn't slowed her down. Before her first birthday, Ariana acquired 6 passport stamps and earned more airline miles than many adults. Readers of Nicole's blog will find tales of female travel, adventures, of navigating Europe as a woman of color, and reflections on how to balance constant urges of wanderlust and raising a child. Nicole shares authentic travel and life experiences, communicating facts and recommendations on itineraries, all in her signature snarky tone, utilizing text, photography, and video. Nicole hopes to inspire women of color and to engage with them abroad around the world. So Nicole,
Yes.
that's quite a resume there, quite a bio you have, I would say.
Thank you. Before we start, I just want to apologize. Ariana's bedtime is usually 7:30, but she's trying to get brand new and stay up. So it's 8 o'clock here, and I think she knew I had something to do. That's why she stayed up.
How old is Ariana?
She is 15 months.
15 months. Wow. She's gorgeous. She's so beautiful.
Thank you.
So, Nicole, tell us a little bit about how did you end up in Berlin, Germany?
I ended up in Berlin. I actually moved from the States 8 years ago, and I was a government contractor, and I was living and working in London. And I worked in London, like I said, as a U.S. contractor for 3 years. And then when my contract was up, I basically had to go back to Washington, D.C., and I wasn't ready to go back to Washington, D.C. I really liked the appeal of living in Europe, you know, the vacation days, the ability to travel, you know, just to be on a plane for an hour and be in a totally different country and experience a totally different lifestyle and food and culture. And so I really wanted to try and stay within Europe. And so I looked around for similar jobs than the one that I had before, and I was able to find one in Berlin just by chance. And so I interviewed in a couple countries, but when I visited Berlin for the interview, you know, it was the one that spoke to me the loudest. And so I decided to move here 5 years ago for work.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so, okay, so you moved there for work 5 years ago. So tell us a little bit, what is life like in Germany, in Berlin in particular?
Well, life in Berlin, I mean, it's changed for me. You know, when I first moved here, I was single, or I was in a relationship, and then we broke up, then we got back together again. This is Ariana's father. And so it's changed for me. I've lived in Berlin while I was in a committed relationship. I've lived in Berlin while I was single, and now I'm living in Berlin as a mother. And so it really depends on, you know, what year of my life you want to talk about. But, I mean, Berlin for the young single person is great. The lifestyle is amazing. There's tons of places to go out, clubs that are like world-renowned. For the culture enthusiasts, there's tons of museums, lots of art, the Philharmonic. For the foodie, there's a great food scene here as well. For anything from vegan to any type of dietary restrictions you may have, you will find a restaurant dedicated to that in Berlin. It's very international as well as far as cuisine. As a parent, it's phenomenal. I mean, there's a huge network of moms here. In Germany, the parental leave is very generous. I was off of work for 14 months, and I received 70% of my pay. And so I was able to travel with her a lot and go to home for an extended period of time so she can get to know my family. What else? I mean, there's like,
you worked for 14 months and then you got an extended paid leave with 70% that allowed you to travel?
No. Well, the parental leave is 14 months to split between both parents, and you can get 70% of your salary. If you're a single parent like I am, you get 14 months all to yourself, and you still get it at 70% of your salary. And so what I did was, you know, as soon as she got her passport and a couple vaccinations, we started traveling. So
tell me, Nicole, what countries have you guys visited then? What 6 countries has Ariana visited?
Oh, well, I mean, it's not, I mean, she gets a passport stamp every time she enters, you know, the U.S. and enters Germany. So we've been to the U.S. 3 times, but in the U.S. we visited New Jersey, New York, Maryland, D.C., Atlanta, Boston. We've been to Denmark. We've been to Sweden. We just came back from Stockholm. We've traveled within Germany to Stuttgart, to Frankfurt. We've been all over. So, yeah.
That's awesome. That is
awesome. And she's pretty good. She's a pretty good flyer.
Where are you from in the States, Nicole? Where is home for you?
Well, home for me is New Jersey. I was born in Jamaica, but my family came here when I was really, really young, so I don't remember it. I don't have an accent. I'm pretty much American with like a Jamaican upbringing. And so I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. Yeah. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, and hold on, sorry. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. I went to school in upstate New York, and then I lived in D.C. I lived in Lexington, Kentucky for a while, and then so I did, you know, Rochester, and then I did Lexington, Kentucky, and then I did the D.C. metro area, and then I moved to London, and then I moved to Berlin. So.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. And
Yeah.
so, how old is Ariana?
She's 15 months.
15 months. And so,
Hmm.
how was it having a baby in Berlin?
Well, I
What was
don't have
that?
much to compare it to because she's my first and only child. But I would say, the language barrier, it was challenging. But I did have a doula, which is like a birth coach, and she spoke perfect English and was able to translate for me. I can say, since it's social health care, I didn't pay for much. I think I paid for $40 the entire pregnancy, and that was for some optional testing. But I got no bill from
Wow.
the hospital. I mean, and she was 10 days late. I had to have a cesarean because they tried to induce me and it didn't work. And I was in the hospital for 5 days after she was born, and I didn't get one bill, nothing. So
That's some fantastic health care then. $40.
yeah. I mean, you pay for it. You contribute to it with your salary. Um, the taxes are pretty high compared to the States, but it includes your health care and all sorts of, pension insurance and accidental insurance and things like that.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, have you had visitors from the U.S.
Oh, yeah. I
come to
mean, I've
Berlin?
been in Germany for 5 years. And, my mother, before the baby was born, she used to come every year for our birthdays because we both have birthdays in October. But now, since the baby's here, the pressure is for me to go over to the States so everybody can see the baby. Um, but, my brothers, I have two brothers. The youngest has come here, my grandmother, my mom, tons of friends. I utilize my spare room all the time because there's tons of guests that come through. So I've had a lot of family, a lot of friends, and then after having the baby, please, this baby within the first year of her life got, I mean, maybe 30 different visitors. So
Oh, wonderful.
yeah,
Okay.
we get a lot of visitors come through here, and it's great because Europe can be expensive on the American dollar, and so it's great to come and visit if you have a friend that already lives here. So basically, you just, foot the bill for the flight, and then you can stay here for free.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's great. And so I hope they brought lots of presents for Ariana too.
Oh, she has more than she's a mess. She's a mess. I don't have to buy clothes or toys or anything because people are always giving her stuff. Huh?
So tell us, what sites do you recommend that people visit in Berlin? What
What
site?
site? Well, like I said, there's a lot to see and do in Berlin. So, if you're like a history buff, Berlin is so rich in history and it has like a really, dark past because of, World War II and the Holocaust, and it was devastated by the Holocaust. And so, um, you know, and then the Holocaust, and then the Berlin Wall is also like an iconic symbol of the city. So there's tons of memorials. There's a Holocaust memorial that's definitely worth seeing, and then there's like a museum underneath that. It's basically a like concrete columns of like varying length, and they don't really say anything on top, but they just represent the victims of the Holocaust. And then when you go underneath them, you see actual relics and artifacts that they have from people's homes that were just basically taken. And it shows you diaries and clothing and stuff like that. So it's a really great monument. And the symbol of the city, I would say, is probably the Brandenburg Gate. You should definitely see that. Um, there's still pieces of the wall throughout the city, but the longest stretch of the wall is at the East Side Gallery, and basically that stretches. I forget the length of it, but each segment has a mural from a different artist, and some of the murals are just breathtaking, and usually in some way are a tribute to the Berlin being a divided city and some of the victims that were lost trying to escape the wall in East Germany. So, and there's tons of tours you can take, basically walking the path of the wall, seeing where people used to live, how they used to live behind the wall. There's, the DDR museum.
What is the DDR museum? What is that?
The DDR museum is basically like it's almost like a time capsule, and it shows you how people lived in East Germany before the wall came down, because East Germany was basically blocked off from the rest of the world, and so things were just different. Like even grocery stores, they could only, they only could, do like trade with other communist countries. So there would be a lot of coffee from Cuba, but I mean you couldn't find like a mango or things like that. Like sometimes you can only get, I think it's bananas like twice a year, Christmas and like another time. So, and it's really interesting to see the bathrooms, and they had their own separate money. It was really a separate state from the rest of Germany and the rest of the world. And so it's cool to see how life was different and how people that lived in the same country were basically lived in two totally different, ranges, So what else is good in Berlin? Like I said, you can do the Philharmonic. Hey, thank you.
Oh, tell us a little bit. So if a Black person wants to go to Berlin, should they be hesitant, thinking that there may be, I don't know, discrimination? I mean, what is it like, I guess, living Black?
Prejudice and racism is everywhere. I mean, I don't really, a prejudice against some group, even if it's not towards you, there's prejudice or racism towards another, racial group or ethnicity. So you can't really escape it, But I would say in Berlin, there's definitely places that as a Black person I would stay away from. Mostly in the East. There's some areas that I've had incidences where people have stared and pointed at me, and I've kind of felt a bit uneasy. But Berlin as a whole, like in the center, it's not unsafe in general. Like there's a lot of petty crime, but not a lot of violence or kidnapping or rapes or
Sorry. Go ahead and get her. Okay. So that's Nicole Blake. And
1 second.
It's okay. Black in Berlin, and she said that places that she would, I guess, be hesitant to go. But in the central part, she feels more comfortable. So do you live in the central part of Berlin?
I live in what will be considered the former West. I live in Charlottenburg. And like I said, since Germany or since Berlin was divided by a wall, it's very different than the East. The architecture, this was the former American district, so the American sector. So it's just a little bit different. The feel of the buildings, of the architecture, even the layout of the city is different.
What do you mean, the former American sector? I didn't realize we had a sector of Berlin. Explain a little bit more.
Well, where like the Americans were stationed.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so where the Americans were stationed.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there a large population of Black Germans in Berlin?
There's a lot of biracial people here, definitely, because there are definitely a lot of immigrants from French-speaking Africa. There's some Americans, definitely, but most of the Black people here are from the African continent. And then you have tons of people that are biracial with that are mixed with African and even American, because there were American soldiers here for such a long time. So you have mixed people that way as well. So
So from the war, we left children.
yeah, actually, there's an interesting documentary. Hey, stop. There's an interesting. Let me come get her. There's an interesting documentary, and I forget what it's called, but basically, what happened was when Black American soldiers came here, you know, some of them had relationships with German women and produced these biracial children, and some of them were in small villages, and this was, you know, years ago. And so there was like a woman who wanted to then remove these children from these German homes, from their white mothers, and send them to America to place them with black parents. And the group is called, I should have researched this beforehand.
Wow, no, I don't think I've ever heard this. That's
Really?
amazing.
Really?
No.
And then there was a documentary about these people who kind of felt displaced because some of them didn't know, like they had no idea that they were part German. They were just kind of taken because like one woman, like she almost didn't have a choice to, you know, give her child to this woman because she lived in like a small village.
They actually sent the kids to the States. They actually went through with it.
Yeah,
they actually did that?
They gave them to sometimes fellow military families, and then those families went to America. Ariana, really?
Wow, because I saw on Facebook recently there's an actress named Samantha Shaw, and she went to Europe and she found her, I think it's her grandmother who's German, and she looks exactly like her.
I think she was, I remember there was a famous actress who was one of these children.
That is incredible.
And they're called So-and-so's children, which is the name of the woman who kind of orchestrated this. And I think it wasn't on the up and up. There might have been like exchange of money, or it really wasn't as innocent as you would have thought, like some good Samaritan, like, oh, these children are black and they won't really survive in Germany, which, you know, is a fair point given the time and sometimes the location of where these people lived, but it was still kind of messed up not to tell these children about their past and just kind of uproot them and take them off to America. So
wow, that is a phenomenal story. Okay. Well,
but this, I mean, this wasn't recent, you know what I mean? This didn't happen to them recently. This happened, I mean, the people are like, I think in their 60s or 50s now, the children. Hey.
Oh, the children are in their 60s, so she's probably a descendant.
It didn't happen like in the 90s or anything.
All right. Hey, Ariana.
She made it. She's really showing out tonight because now she pooped, and normally.
Okay, well, we're going to let you go, Nicole.
No, but seriously, this is TMI, but she normally doesn't poop past 6 o'clock, so she really is in rare form tonight.
Oh, my goodness.
Did you have any more questions?
No, you go ahead and take care of Ariana. I appreciate you taking time.
Say bye-bye. Ariana, look. Ariana, say bye-bye. Say cheers.
Cheers, Ariana.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, Nicole.
Blow kisses with your stinky butt.
Blow a kiss. Ciao.
Ciao. Cheers. Bye.
Bye. Oh, there you guys go. Okay, got one more selfie in there. Thank you. Okay, so that was Nicole, the New Black. Nicole is the New Black, and she lives currently in Berlin, Germany. If you want to find out more information about Nicole Blake, you can go to her blog, Nicole is the New Black. She also has a very well-followed YouTube channel, which is also called Nicole is the New Black. And you could go there, and she has videos on having a baby in Berlin, Germany, what it's like being a mom, a woman of color in Berlin, Germany as well. So check out Nicole Blake. of Nicole is the New Black. That is her YouTube channel and her blog, and you can also follow her on Twitter as well. So her interests include natural hair care, plus size fashions, and crafting. And those are some of the topics that you will find on Nicole is the New Black at YouTube. And if you're just joining us, this is the Skychi Travel Guide Live, and I am Janice Temple, your host, every Travel Tuesday at 1 p.m. on UBM Talk Live. We talk about flight tales, so today was actually more of a narrative in Berlin, flying insider secrets and flying hot topics. I was a flight attendant for 7 years at a regional carrier where I flew across the United States, Canada, and the Bahamas. I'm now a travel agent. If you're interested in booking a trip, you can contact me at 904-515-2995. And I invite you to follow me on Facebook at the Skychi Travel Guide, and also to subscribe to our blog, the SkychiTravelGuide.com, to learn more about our travel experiences. And we are now launching the Black Girlfriends Fitness Getaways to the Riviera Maya in Mexico 2015. If you're interested in signing up, you can go to the blog, the SkychiTravelGuide.com, and complete the form. Welcome back. This is Janice, Skychi Travels, your host for the Skychi Travel Guide, every Travel Tuesday at 1 p.m. Central on UBM Talk Live. We talk about flight tales, flying insider secrets, and flying hot topics. I was a flight attendant for 7 years at a regional carrier where I flew across the United States, Canada, and the Bahamas. I'm now a travel agent. If you're interested in booking a trip, contact me at 904 515 2995. I also invite you to follow us on Facebook at the Skychi Travel Guide and subscribe to our blog, theskychitravelguide.com, to learn more about our travel experiences. We are launching our first fitness getaway, the Black Girls Fitness Getaways to Riviera Maya in Cancun, Mexico, 2015. If you're interested in joining us, go to our blog, theskychitravelguide.com, and complete the form to find out more information about our upcoming trip. If you'd like to join in on the conversation or have questions or comments, you can call us at 312-754-4333, and we welcome your travel story. So we just had Nicole on, Nicole Blake, and Nicole is the New Black. That is her blog and YouTube channel, as well as her Twitter handle. And she just shared a little bit with us about life in Germany and about the Berlin Wall. So this year is the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And on November 9th, between 1989 and 1990 was the end of the Cold War and peaceful reunification to bring East Berlin and West Berlin back together again. So a group of youth from Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago traveled to Berlin, Germany for 12 days on a cultural exchange. They went camping and biking along the Berlin Wall Trail in celebration of the 25th anniversary of the fall. So they were accompanied by Reverend Carmen Frederick. She's the associate youth pastor there. And the students were Joshua Chapman, Kari Amster, Khalil Bentley, and Indigo Timms. And now we're going to hear a clip from the introduction of the students' Trinity United Church of Christ Chicago Youth Berlin Wall Tour intro. Okay, so that was the introduction from Trinity United Church of Christ, Chicago youth that traveled to Berlin, Germany for 12 days. And now we're going to hear a clip from the same group. I asked the question, what German foods did you like? To Trinity United Church of Christ, Chicago Youth. What? Tell. Oh, cool.
I didn't know you were taking that thing. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
We'll do it one more time.
that's better.
That's nice. I like that.
And I'm your host, Janice Temple. And we are talking about Destination Berlin, Germany. We are listening to interviews that I did with the Trinity United Church of Christ youth who traveled to Berlin, Germany for 12 days on a cultural exchange where they camped and biked along the Berlin Wall in celebration of the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And now we're going to hear a clip from the TUCC Chicago Youth Biked Berlin Wall 25th Anniversary. And if you want to look at it for yourself, you can also Google them on YouTube. Now we're going to hear that clip. Okay, so that was a clip from the Trinity United Church of Christ Chicago Youth Group who went to Berlin, Germany, and they are sharing some of their experiences. They just went in July for 12 days for the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And the next clip that we're going to hear from the Trinity United Church of Christ Youth Group is they're sharing on their spiritual experience with Berlin German youth. So it's TUCC Chicago Youth Share Church with Berlin German youth. Okay, so you've been listening to audio from the Trinity United Church of Christ Chicago youth that traveled to Berlin, Germany for 12 days during a cultural exchange. They biked and camped along the Berlin Wall in celebration of the 25th anniversary of the fall. Those who went with Reverend Carmen Frederick, the associate pastor of Trinity United Church of Christ. Those students were Joshua Chapman, Kari Amster, Khalil Bentley, and Indigo Timms. And if you'd like to see the rest of the interview, you can go to YouTube and Google TUCC Chicago Youth Biking and Camping, the Berlin Wall, and there's a playlist there of several short videos, about 17 short videos. And you can listen to the whole interview on the playlist. And now I want to share a little bit with you about my experiences of going to Cologne, Germany. I have not been to Berlin, but I have been to Germany. I have traveled through there on train. And when I actually graduated from college, I left for Paris 2 days after I graduated. And a month or two after I was in Paris, I got contacted by this family in Brussels, Belgium. And I went to stay with them off and on. I became their au pair, and au pair is like a live-in babysitter, basically, or a nanny. So I was an au pair for a husband and wife. They were an interracial couple. The woman's mother lived in Chicago, and she was African American. And the husband was the president of some computer company in their European division. And I became an au pair for them. And we traveled to Germany like we would just go for lunch or go for dinner. I mean, you can drive an hour and be in another country. That's the way Europe is set up. I mean, you can easily get around by train or car. So we would drive. And we went to Cologne, Germany to go to a seafood restaurant for dinner. And there is this huge cathedral in Cologne, Germany. And I remember seeing it in high school. My French teacher, she would play, back then they had slides, and she would play these slides, and it would come up on the screen, and it was just massive. And just to go to Germany and to see this huge cathedral, this church that just, it took up everything. I mean, it towered for miles and miles and miles. It was the tallest building around for miles. And the sun, the way the sun struck it, it was configured. It was a Gothic building. And it was just massive. And so I can relate to some of the students going to see the Berlin Wall, going to the East Side Gallery, seeing the car, seeing just landmarks that they had seen in books or on YouTube or photos of. And when you travel and you go and you actually experience it, you're living history. It's like it comes to life, and it's just an amazing feeling. So I encourage everyone just to travel. Just don't be an armchair traveler, to get out there and to experience some of the things that you've seen, say, in a YouTube video or in a photo that people are sharing. I'm sure you've seen people share photos of their travels. So that was just such an awesome experience. And if you're planning to travel to Germany for this year, it is the 20th anniversary of the Berlin Wall fall, November 9th. There will be lots of celebrations and historic events. So you can go and see East Berlin and West Berlin. You can walk the trail. This group of students actually biked and camped the trail wall. So it must be very long, because they did that for about 9 days or so. And they stopped along the wall. There are temples, there are reflection places, there's artwork, there's galleries, there are houses, so there are exhibits. So there are quite a few places to visit. So if you're planning a trip to Berlin, Germany, you can give me a call and I'll help you arrange your travels. My number is 904-515-2995. So if you're just joining us, today's show we had Nicole Blake of Nicole is the New Black, and we interviewed her about living as a woman of color in Berlin, Germany today. She's one of the black Germans that you may see there and think that, you know, that she was born there, but she's actually from New Jersey. And she's been living in Germany for 5 years, and now she's a single mother. Her daughter is 15 months. So you can follow her blog, Nicole is the New Black, where she blogs about her interests in natural hair care, plus-size fashion, and crafting. And you can also check out her YouTube channel, where she has lots of videos on natural hair care and fashions as well. And being a mommy and living as a woman of color in Germany. As a matter of fact, I believe there's about 10 African American sisters. There's a group of them there. So she's not by herself. She has a support group. And you may see them interacting on her YouTube channels as well, because she does hangouts with some of the other sisters who live in Germany. And in the second part of our interview today, we interviewed the Trinity United Church of Christ youth who traveled to Berlin for the 12 days. Those youth were Joshua Chapman, Kari Amster, Khalil Bentley, and Indigo Timms, Reverend Carmen Frederick, the assistant youth pastor, at Trinity United Church of Christ, led the group there. And if you're interested in seeing the YouTube videos, you can go to YouTube, to the Skychi Travel Guide Live. I invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you can Google the playlist, TUCC Chicago Youth Biking and Camping, the Berlin Wall, Germany. Nicole did share with us that there are places everywhere in the world where there's a group that's discriminated against. There are places in East Berlin where African Americans or black people may feel uncomfortable, but she said the central part of Berlin is fine, or the old western part, or where the old Americans occupied it, that is also a great area to visit in Berlin, Germany, if you're going to go for the fall of the Berlin Wall. And this has been Janice Temple with the Skychi Travel Guide Live. And I invite you to join us every Travel Tuesday at 1 p.m. on UBM Talk Live, where we talk about flight tales, flying insider secrets, and flying hot topics. I was a flight attendant at a regional carrier where I flew across the United States, Canada, and the Bahamas. I am now a travel agent. You can contact me at 904-515-2995, and I will help you book your vacation. I invite you to follow the Skychi Travel Guide on Facebook and to subscribe to our blog, theskychitravelguide.com, to learn more about our travel experiences. Ciao!